selection sweet corn cobbetts are just £1. Bring it home with Asda. Save money, live better. Selected stores online, subject to availability. Card 260 grams.
At Wickes right now, there's buy one, get one half price on all paint, including great brands like Dulux, plus all undercoat gloss and emulsion. Ends today. Terms apply.
At first, we were worried about using purple bricks, but since we sold with them, I haven't been able to stop going on about them, have I, dear?
No, love.
I've been telling everyone. Family, friends, that confused guy at the supermarket.
Yeah, you haven't really shut up about that.
But seriously, did I tell you about our purple bricks estate agent, Michael?
I met him too. He was nice.
We could talk to him whenever. Anything we asked, he could do it.
That's enough now,
He
dear.
was brilliant, always available to chat on the phone.
Enough,
I
Robert.
could email him any time of the day or night.
Purple bricks. You'll be totally sold.
Fixed fee payable on instruction or after 10 months. Viewing services cost extra. See website for more details.
Shares of Johnson & Johnson popping after hours after an Oklahoma judge ruled against the company moments ago in an opioid lawsuit. The judge ordering the company to pay $572 million in damages. That was much lower than expected. For more, let's bring in Fred Hassan, chairman of the Carrot Group, former CEO of Schering-Plough. Fred, first, the importance of this case and this judge ruling.
This is a profoundly important case because generally when you're in this business of research and development, you rely on safe harbors. FDA-approved drug, FDA-approved labeling, state-licensed doctors who write the RXs, and state-licensed pharmacists who dispense. So you rely on the system, and suddenly you hear that there's a problem. Unfortunately, this whole epidemic could not have been foreseen 25 years ago. 25 years ago, we were talking about pain and how do you accelerate the treatment of patients. Nurses and doctors were being measured in terms of their pain management scores. If you were above 5, that wasn't good for your grade. So there was a whole different mindset 25 years ago. And it's very unfortunate that we as society did not see this thing coming. And it's now a pretty bad scene. But I'm not sure if one particular pharmaceutical company should be held liable for this societal issue that we've seen here.
I'm not surprised that's your point of view. I say that respectfully as a person who used to be an executive in the pharma industry. But do you think that who needs to be held accountable for what we've witnessed in our communities in this country?
Well, obviously, if people were not good at managing the supply chain, they allowed things to leak out, or if people spoke outside labeling, that is certainly bad. But to just single out one company that was 1% of the supply chain seems a little broad.
Well, there are many, though, who are potentially at risk of facing sort of similar lawsuits like Johnson & Johnson. It's not necessarily just one. This happens to be the first.
I think this is going to be quite a big thing. I think we need to be measured in the amount of damages awards that are going to occur here. The most important thing is to focus on the patients. We need to focus on prevention, on treatment, and early intervention when there's an overdose. And I really think that's the important thing that needs to be looked at, not trying to make up for state spending locally at the state level. A lot of this money is going to go to deal with local state deficits. That's a little broad. It should be just focused on the patients.
I mean, the argument, though, Fred, around the public nuisance charge was that they aggressively marketed the use of these opioids to cure pain and downplayed the sort of negative aspects, the risk of addiction, which spiraled out of control in this company. So it's really around how they marketed it, isn't it?
Well, that's usually the complaint that occurs in this area. It is severe. It's monitored by the federal government very aggressively. The DOJ looks at this. There have been many decisions. J&J and many other companies are extremely compliant with the law. They stay within labeling. They teach their salespeople how to be compliant. I think there might have been a few breakdowns, but generally, if you look at the company, this company systemically is a very strong company, very strong compliance system. They got a great credo, a great CEO. I don't believe that they would have those kinds of breakdowns.
If you were running J&J today, and as we said, some of the estimates had the payment as high as $2 billion.
Yeah.
So it's 572 on its face. Would you appeal it, or would you just pay it think you got off better than you otherwise might have and just move on, what would you do?
I think from a money point of view, you can see that the market is reacting in a positive manner. This is more a matter of principle. I can't speak for J&J. I'm speaking for myself. I think this is a matter of principle. If you work by the rules, if you play by the rules, why should you get singled out for something that's developed from a societal point of view? Obviously, the biggest contribution a pharmaceutical company can make under these circumstances is to bring up new drugs that are a super aspirin or a super Advil that does not have the addictive qualities. It is really a pity that with all the great science that we have these days, we're still relying on opioids to manage pain. We need to do more in that area.
Does CBD fall into that category?
That's another one where a lot of energy is going, but I personally have my doubts because the science is not well developed there. But there's a lot of noise out there right now and a lot of money going into that area.
We appreciate your time, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Fred Hassan joining us. Still ahead, find out how the trade war with China is impacting the energy sector, and the broader economy. We're going to speak with the Energy Secretary, Rick Perry, and the former Citigroup Chairman and CEO, Sandy Weil.
I don't know what's going on.
At Tesco, we can pop our pasta in your Astra, our red Leicester in your Fiesta, or our mayo in your Mondeo. All you need to do is try Click and Collect. Just go to Tesco.com, order your shopping, then click and collect. With the minimum basket spend now only £25. And if you fancy something a little more exotic, we can even put our pad thai in your Qashqai. Try Click and Collect at Tesco.com. Every little helps. Selected larger stores. Booking charge may apply. See online for full terms and conditions.
This summer at Chessington World of Adventures Resort, answer the call of the wild. With over 1,000 of the world's most amazing animals and over 40 of the wildest rides and attractions. Meet the Gruffalo and all your favourite characters at the Gruffalo Summer Party and so much more. Book early and save up to 40% at Chessington.com. It's Britain's wildest adventure for all the family.
It was a Sunday morning when I jumped on the tube
and decided to pop down to Greenwich via
a large indoor jungle.
And when I got there, I was captivated by a sparkling,
scary dinosaur just standing there right in front of me.
So off we went to Wembley Park
to look at the colourful fish.
Tap into the wonderful world of Off-Peak London. Travel in zones 2 to 6 for £1.50. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
£1.50 is an adult off-peak pay-as-you-go fare for a journey not going via Zone 1 on Tube, DLR and most London Overground services. Always touch in and out with the same card or device to pay the right fare.
We spoke to the Cans from Sly about what BT's new complete Wi-Fi brings to their busy house.
Now the Wi-Fi literally does reach every corner of the house. We have 11 people that all use the Wi-Fi for different things, and the Wi-Fi disc has helped that so much.
The harmony in the house has improved 10 or 20-fold.
The Cans are 11 more happy BT customers with complete Wi-Fi that guarantees a Wi-Fi signal in every room.
Up to 3 discs to guarantee Wi-Fi or £20 off your bill. Terms apply.
The 2019 MLB season is now playing on TuneIn Premium.
Swinging a line drive up the middle, base hit.
Featuring the home calls for every Major League Baseball team. MLB on TuneIn Premium delivers every exciting play from games around the league. From no-hitters to walk-off home runs. Catch the action all season long. Hear every pitch. Listen to every play live all the way to the MLB World Series. At home or on the road, listen to the MLB on TuneIn Premium.
Live from the TuneIn Studios, I'm Fonseca with your daily sports update. Now, Matt Carpenter knew it was just a matter of time. The veteran infielder busted out of a prolonged slump with a home run and 2 singles as the St. Louis Cardinals cruised to 11-4 victory over the Colorado Rockies after a long rain delay last night.
2-1 to count to Carpenter, and the pitch is hit high to right field and deep. Back goes Yelich. This ball is way out of here.
To catch your team and when they're going to play next, search MLB and favorite your team. That's your TuneIn Sports Update.
Disney unveiling much more about its streaming service strategy at the annual D23 event. Julia Borston with the details. Julia.
Well, Sarah, Disney showcased the big brands and the big budget shows that it hopes will draw subscribers to Disney Plus, like its new trailer for the Mandalorian Star Wars spin-off series, one of 8 new shows set to debut on the service when it launches November 12th. And Disney Plus's standard $7 plan will will include up to 7 user profiles and 4 streams at the same time, and it will include streaming in 4K and HD. Now, to compare this with Netflix, it charges $16 for 4K and 4 streams. Now, unlike Netflix, though, Disney does plan to release its new episodes of its originals weekly rather than dropping them all at once. Less opportunity to binge on Disney Plus. Guys, back to you.
All right, having a good day in the market as well. Thank you, Julia. Up next, we will speak exclusively with Energy Secretary Rick Perry and former Citigroup CEO and Chairman Sandy Weil about a new initiative to boost America's standing in the world of artificial intelligence. That's up next.
Hiring was always a huge challenge.
At Tesco, we can pop our pasta in your Astra, our red Leicester in your Fiesta, or our mayo in your Mondeo. All you need to do is try click and collect. Just go to tesco.com, order your shopping, then click and collect. With the minimum basket spend now only £25. And if you fancy something a little more exotic, we can even put our pad thai in your Qashqai. Try click and collect at tesco.com. Every little helps. Selected larger stores. Booking charge may apply. See online for full terms and conditions.
Set for Life is the new game from the National Lottery where you can win 10 grand every month for 30 years. So go smash this month, next month, and make every month amazing. Play new Set for Life Mondays and Thursdays.
Set for Life from the National Lottery. Amazing starts here. Prize may be capped. Rules, procedures, and game-specific rules apply. Players must be 16 or over.
It was a Sunday morning when I jumped on the tube.
And decided to pop down to Greenwich via
a large indoor jungle.
And when I got there, I was captivated by a sparkling
scary dinosaur just standing there right in front of me.
So off we went to Wembley Park
to look at the colourful fish.
Tap into the wonderful world of off-peak London. Travel in zones 2 to 6 for £1.50. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
£1.50 is an adult off-peak pay-as-you-go fare for a journey not going via Zone 1 on Tube, DLR and most London Overground services. Always touch in and out with the same card or device to pay the right fare.
It's time to rake in the dough with eBay. Multiply your moolah and feed that cute little piggy bank you've had sitting on your shelf. List by midnight and you can make more money than ever selling on eBay with a max £1 selling fee per item. It's super simple. So while you're spending the weekend doing fun stuff, your little piggy bank is getting bigger. Making money. It's happening on eBay. Activate your offer at ebay.co.uk/promo. Excludes business sellers. T's and C's apply.
The MLB is in full swing.
Looking up, and this one is up and out. A home run.
Swung on and into the air to deep left. That ball is high. That is far. That is gone.
To listen, just search MLB Today on TuneIn Premium so you don't miss a moment of the games on TuneIn.
The Department of Energy and the Weil Foundation signing a memorandum of understanding to formally initiate a new public-private partnership. The group entering an agreement to apply the Energy Department's AI capabilities to biomedical research. The goal is to improve diagnoses and develop more effective treatments.
Joining us now in an exclusive interview, Sandy Weil of the Weil Foundation and former chairman and CEO of Citigroup. Also with us today is the Energy Secretary of the United States, Rick Perry. Gentlemen, it is great to have you with us today. Secretary Perry, you want to tell us about this agreement today? Secretary Perry, can you hear me?
I don't know.
Looks to me like the shot has maybe frozen. We'll try and get back. Mr. Weil, do you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Maybe you could tell us about what you're saying today is a groundbreaking partnership.
Well, this is an important public-private partnership, and I think as one looks at science and the development of new science and especially AI and computing, you really need to have partners to make things work.
And get answers to questions that before you just did not have the broadband, if you would, the bandwidth, so to speak, to get those answers. Today we're approaching that. In the next 18 to 24 months, we're going to have exascale computers coming on board that are going to be anywhere between 50 and 100 times faster than these computers that we see today. So the improvement in healthcare, particularly in the brain science side, is going to be monumental. It's going to be, I think, really world-changing, and the Department of Energy is right at the forefront of it. And we have great thanks to Sandy and his family foundation for being a partner with this. And there's going to be other private sector folks as well that philanthropically give to these types of public-private partnerships with the federal government.
Mr. Weil, if I could ask you, you mentioned, and I think your exact words, we have to beat China on this. And I'd like to take the conversation there, if I may, if you'll allow me to do that. And the trade war, which is currently underway between the U.S. and China. Not really, since you asked. But I'd love for you to answer a question, though, for me on that, as to how you see that today. President's leaving the G7. There are questions as to where we stand with the Chinese and the trade war. How do you see it? What should happen next?
Well, I think it's very important for the United States and China to really figure out a way to get along with each other and partner with each other. I think that with the two countries, the United States and China, partnering for the future, I think we would end up with a better world, a safer world. And so I hope that the conversations lead to a relationship that is really very good and lasts a very long time.
Do you agree with the way that the president has gone about it with the tariffs?
Well, I don't really know about everything that he's done, but he certainly keeps me on my toes.
All of us. Secretary Perry, one thing that China has done is that it imposed additional tariffs at the end of last week, 5% and 10% on U.S. exports that go into China, and that includes crude oil. And I'm wondering how you think about the impact of that.
Well, I think it's really important for us to take a step back and look at the broad picture here. China has, I think, misused their position in the world for some period of time. The President of the United States, the first president, certainly in my lifetime that I recall, that it's really stepped in, leaned into this and said, look, China, if you want to do business with us, if you want to be a good neighbor, if you want to be part of the world community, so to speak, here are the rules that you need to play with. And we know that they've been stealing intellectual property for years and years. And no one's really stepped in and said, this has got to stop. And that's what you see President Trump doing. And my hat's off to him for being a strong negotiator when it comes. The United States is the #1 oil and gas producing country in the world. Thanks to innovation and technology, we find ourselves leading the world in oil and gas production. So when you look at it from that position, China needs us a lot more than we need the Chinese. Now, I agree with Sandy when if the solution is finding that middle ground, finding the way to get along, to live within the rules of proper engagement, then hopefully we'll find that, and the Chinese will come to the table and say, look, we want to do business with you, we want to be good neighbors, we want to be good partners, and that's a good solution.
Do you think, Mr. Secretary, that we can get along with someone like Iran? The president of the G7 suggested that he'd be willing to sit down with Rouhani.